Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a book review over Ugly Love, which is written by Colleen Hoover. This book was released earlier this month. It is the newest novel by Colleen Hoover, and I was so lucky to pick up my copy at a book signing the day that it came out, I think. Yeah, I think it was the day after it came out. So, or no, it was the day of. So, anywhoosie, so I have a signed copy, which makes me very excited, and I have already devoured this book, so I wanted to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on it. So, Ugly Love is a story that revolves mainly around two people who are Tate and Miles. When we first meet Tate, she is moving out to San Francisco. She's going to be living with her brother for a time. She's just, you know, an average gal. She has a job. She's a nurse. She's going to grad school. I mean, life is just pretty normal for her. And when she first gets to San Francisco, she ends up meeting Miles, who is just stupid drunk. He's passed out in front of Corbin, her brother's apartment, just barring the way. And then when she tries to get in, it's not good. And so she calls her brother. She's like, there's this drunk guy on your porch. Let me call my friend Miles and he'll check on you. It'll be okay. So he calls her back and he's like, yeah, the drunk guy, just let him into the apartment. Set him up on the sofa. I'll be home in the morning. It's gonna be okay. Well, let's talk about Miles. Needless to say, he has some issues in his life, and when we first meet him, and pretty much for the majority of the book, I wouldn't say that he's actually working through those issues. He's more of just in survival mode. He's just doing what he does in order to keep it together and like have some kind of just resemblance of a life. Not really until close to the end when things happen and he actually starts to work on those things and the things that he's just kind of hung up on. Miles is also a pilot. That's how Corbin and Miles know each other. They live in the same apartment complex. They fly for the same company, and that's how they've become best friends. So the next morning when Miles has, you know, sobered up, when he meets Tate for the first time, there's kind of like this attraction between them, and Tate's just like, oh wow. But he seems kind of, I don't know. It's just, first time I ever met him, he was drunk, passed out, and going on about a girl named Rachel. I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not. One thing about this book and how it's written is that each chapter switches. One chapter is Tate, and Tate's point of view is through the present day. And the next chapter is Miles, but it's set 6 years into the past, which is around the time, whatever this issue is that he has, that's when it's happening. So it's more for us as the reader to find out about him and what has happened to him, which has led him to where he is in the present with Tate. And I really enjoyed that, and I think that it worked well in the story and it was very balanced. So we got this whole thing between Tate and Miles. They're doing like this whole I'm attracted to you but I'm not sure. Things really start to happen at Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, Corbin and Tate, they load up into the car, they head home for Thanksgiving. But they also bring Miles along. During this adventure, Miles and Corbin are helping Corbin's dad put up Christmas lights. He comes in, he sliced his hand open on the ladder because he's trying to keep Corbin from falling. And so, of course, you know, Tate being the nurse, she fixes his hand up, gives him some stitches. And this is like when Miles ends up kissing her, and it's just a very charged thing that happens between them. It comes to a point where Miles just kind of like freaks out and just stops and is just like, no. And so Tate's just left like, what just happened? Because I was really enjoying myself, and I think he was. No, I'm pretty sure he was enjoying himself since he's the one that started it. In the middle of the night, they kind of cross paths in the kitchen and they begin this talk. Miles is like, okay, I know you're attracted to me and this and that, but I just want to let you know right now that you can't have a relationship with me. I'm not someone who can have relationships with anyone. The only thing that I can give you is just sex. And that's it. If you want a relationship, if you want my past, if you want my future, that's not something that I can give you. That's not what I'm offering you. But if you want to have fun with me in the moment and you want my present, then yeah, sure, we can do this. Just as long as we're clear, those are my 2 rules. And Tate, she's like, I would like to say that that will be enough for me, but in her head she kind of knows, like, eventually I'm gonna need more than that. But she really, really is attracted to him, and she's like, okay, I can agree to that. After Thanksgiving, they head back, life continues. Tate and Miles said their arrangement and agreement is perfectly fine. They're having a lot of sex, they're really enjoying each other, and things are good. As time goes on, just things begin to change, expectations begin to change. We're only getting the present through Tate's perspective. We really see her kind of really coming to terms with things and realizing that this just physical relationship really isn't going to be enough for her with Miles, that she does need more of him than he's offering. But at the same time, she's like, I don't want to cut things off and like have less in him. So that friction that's there starts to grow and build between both of them. A lot of the novel is just how they're working through and dealing with that friction. You're not getting all the needs that you have met through this relationship. And it's very clear that right now, where Miles is in his life and what he's going through, he can't give you anything more. And I really don't feel like waiting around hoping that eventually he will be okay and things will change enough for him where he can give you all the things that you need. I'm just like, I'd be perfectly okay if they didn't come back together and that was just the end of it, and then they like had like this self-discovery of themselves. But yeah, no, I know that that wasn't gonna happen, and I know that I'm probably the only person that thought that, because I was thinking, I wonder how Colleen wanted me to feel about this. Probably not this way. And it was at that moment I thought to myself, damn you, psychology degree! I really don't want to go into any more specifics about what their conflicts were and all that kind of thing, because I really want you to read this book, because you totally should, and really experience that for yourselves. One thing I do want to discuss with you guys is when everything comes to a head between Miles and Tate. When Miles comes home from a 10-day trip and he instantly goes over to Tate's apartment and he's like, oh hey, I'm back. They go over, Tate asks him and she's like, oh, where's your luggage? And he's like, oh, it's out in the hall. You came and got me before you came home. And he's like, yes. And she's like, aw, that's so cute, you really missed me, like in a really teasing sort of way. Miles is just, his demeanor completely changes. It's like walls are up, barrier in place, defense mechanism just activated. And I'm just gonna read to you that section of the book. Did you miss me, Miles? Up comes the armor again, shielding him. He looks away and walks back into the kitchen. We don't say things like that, Tate. The hardness is back in his voice. Is he serious? We don't. I take a step forward into the kitchen. Miles, it's a common phrase. It doesn't mean commitment. It doesn't even mean love. Friends say it to friends. He leans against the bar in the kitchen and calmly looks up at me. But we were never friends. And I don't want to break your one and only rule by giving you false hope, so I'm not saying it. I can't explain what happens to me because I don't know. But it's as if every single thing he's ever said and done that's hurt me impales me all at once. I want to scream at him. I want to hate him. I want to know what the hell happened that made him capable of saying things that can hurt me more than any other words have ever come close to doing. I'm tired of treading water. I'm tired of pretending it's not killing me to want to know everything about him. I'm tired of pretending he's not everywhere, everything, my only thing. What did she do to you? I whisper. Don't. He says. The word is a warning, a threat. I'm so tired of seeing the pain in his eyes and not knowing the reason for it. I'm tired of not knowing what words are off limits with him. Tell me. He looks away from me. Go home, Tate. He turns around and grips the edge of the counter, dropping his head between his shoulders. Fuck you. I turn and exit the kitchen. When I reach the living room, I hear him coming after me, so I speed up. I make it to the front door and open it, but his palm meets the door above my head and he slams it shut. I squeeze my eyes tightly, bracing for whatever words are about to completely slay me, because I know they will. His face is right next to my ear and his chest is pressed against my back. That's what we've been doing, Tate. Fucking. I've made that clear from day one. I laugh because I don't know what else to do. I turn around and look up at him. He doesn't back away, and he's so much more intimidating in this moment than I've ever seen him before. You think you've been that clear? I ask him. You are so full of shit, Miles. He still doesn't move, but his jaw tenses. How have I not been clear? 2 rules. Can't get any simpler than that. I laugh incredulously, then get everything off my chest at once. There's a huge difference between fucking someone and making love to them. You haven't fucked me in more than a month. Every time you're inside me, you're making love to me. I can see it in the way you look at me. You miss me when we aren't together. You think about me all the time. You can't even wait 10 seconds to walk in your front door before coming to see me. So don't you dare tell me that you've been clear from day one, because you are the murkiest goddamn man I have ever met. My response when I first read that was, get him, Tate! Get him! That's their argument that really brings everything to a head. And after that, we find out why Miles is not able to move forward with really anything in his life. And when you find out what that event is to Miles, it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's just even hard for me to imagine that if I went through that experience, just how devastating and crippling that would be to me, and how it would just completely shake and shatter my world. At this particular time, we know what has happened to Miles in his past, but he's still unable to open up and share that with Tate. So she's still completely in the dark. She's like, look, I'm done. I can't pretend that this is enough for me, and I can't wait and keep hoping that one day you will be able to give me more. I'm done. And it's really after this that Miles kind of goes down this path of self-discovery, and you go with him as he goes and finds closure to these things, and you're just like, dang boy, you're doing good. Just keep going. Just keep going through it. Just keep going through it. And once he's able to find closure and feel some kind of peace about what has happened 6 years prior, and he goes to Tate, he tells her who he is. He's an only child, where he grew up, the basic things that you just share with someone first meeting someone. And he shares with her briefly what it was that happened 6 years ago. But he's like, I'm not really ready to share all those things with you. It was just his own strength and his own choice to face those demons in his past that he's able to move forward. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for not making it to where Tate did something to her love was enough, it changed him, all these things, because the actuality of it, the only person that has the power to change anyone is that person themselves. And I really enjoyed seeing that portrayed in the story. And so of course after that things move forward, and Tate and Miles have this relationship with each other, and things wrap up really beautifully. The 2 things that I say that I couldn't fully enjoy in the book were, one was that the ending wasn't really enough for me. It made me very happy, but I feel like since I saw most of the relationship as something that was dysfunctional and then working through that, I really felt like I needed more of the good stuff at the end. And I really felt like I was being told about these good things, that I wasn't really experiencing these great moments between them and where they went in life. I just want to say it more of like as a service announcement, is that the whole content of what this book revolves around is needing something more in a relationship, and what do you do about that? A lot of things that happen in this book, I swear I've had personal experience with through like different friends. Tate is like 2 of my best girlfriends. Miles is like 2 guys that I know, and so it's just something that I know does affect people in real life. Just have the courage to be like, no, this isn't enough for me. And the only person that I have the power to change is myself. Don't just keep hoping and waiting for things to change, because life is not a movie, it's not a book. More times than not, things don't wrap up beautifully in true life. So service announcement over. So you guys, I really enjoyed Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. It's a solid read, and I really think that if you picked it up, you would really enjoy it. I give it 4 stars out of 5. So thank you guys so much for giving me some of your time. I really appreciate it. And until I see you next time, peace out, Girl Scouts.